For 8 years, my parents told everyone I didn't exist. No calls. No birthdays. No holidays. Then the morning my name appeared on Forbes, my mother texted me for the first time in nearly a decade, "Family Christmas dinner. 6:30 p.m. We need to talk." They expected the daughter they buried. What walked through that door instead, owned their entire future. My name is Lena Carter. I'm 29 years old now. But this story didn't begin with success. It began the night my own father declared me dead at the dinner table. 8 years earlier, I stood in that same house, soaked from the freezing rain, holding a single suitcase and a dream no one in that family respected. I had just told them I was dropping out of college. Not because I was failing. Not because I was lazy. But because I had built a financial software prototype in my dorm room that actually worked. I wanted to move to California. I wanted to build a company. My father didn't let me finish the sentence. He slammed his fist on the table so hard the plates jumped. "From today on," he said, his voice calm in the most terrifying way, "Lena Carter no longer exists in this family." My mother didn't argue. She didn't cry. She didn't defend me. She just kept cutting her food like nothing had happened. My younger brother laughed. "Good," he said. "One less mouth to feed." That was the moment I understood something important. I wasn't losing my family. I had never really had one. I walked out into the rain with one suitcase, $600 in cash, and a phone that would stop ringing forever. No goodbye texts. No, "Are you safe?" No, "We're worried." For 8 years, I was erased. California didn't welcome me. I slept on couches. Then floors. Then a shared room with 4 strangers and one broken heater. I worked mornings at a cafe. Afternoons delivering food. Nights cleaning offices. I learned to code using free library computers because I couldn't afford Wi-Fi. Some nights I ate instant noodles 3 times a day. Other nights, I didn't eat at all. There were moments I almost went back. Moments where pride felt heavier than hunger. But every time, I remembered my father's words. "You don't exist." So I decided to become impossible to ignore. After 2 years, my app launched quietly. No press. No investors. No help. Just users. Then more users. Then companies. By year 5, venture capital firms started calling. By year 7, I stopped answering unknown numbers. And then, one December morning, everything changed. I opened my phone and saw my face staring back at me from an article headline, "The Dropout Who Built a $120 million fintech company." Forbes. 30 under 30. I stared at the screen, waiting to feel joy. Instead, my phone buzzed. A number I hadn't seen in 8 years. A message with no apology. No shame. Just entitlement. Family Christmas dinner. 6:30 p.m. We need to talk. That's when I realized something. They didn't miss me. They missed my money. And for the first time since the night I was declared dead, I smiled. Because I already knew what they didn't. While they were preparing a dinner, I had been preparing something else. I booked the flight that same afternoon. Not because I missed them. Not because I wanted closure. But because I wanted to look them in the eyes when they realized they had made the biggest mistake of their lives. Chicago was colder than I remembered. Snow covered the streets like a polite lie, hiding everything rotten underneath. I rented a black SUV at the airport. Not to show off. Just because I could. As I drove through the old neighborhood, nothing had changed. Same manicured lawns. Same oversized houses. Same people pretending everything was perfect. Their house was impossible to miss. Every inch wrapped in white Christmas lights. A massive tree glowing through the front window. The kind of home that screams, successful family, to the outside world. I parked at the curb and sat there for a moment, engine off. 8 years ago, I had left this place shaking, soaked, and invisible. Tonight, I walked up those steps calm, and very much alive. The door opened before I knocked. My mother stood there in a red velvet dress and pearls. She smiled like we had spoken yesterday. "Lena," she said, pulling me into a quick, stiff hug. "You look good." No apology. No hesitation. Just evaluation. My father appeared behind her, glass of wine already in hand. He gave me a firm nod. "Long time," he said, eyes flicking past me toward the car outside. My brother barely looked up from his phone. "Hey," he muttered. 8 years erased. Reduced to a greeting you give a neighbor. I stepped inside. The house smelled exactly the same. Pine. Cinnamon. Control. Family photos lined the walls. All of them stopped 8 years ago. Like I had never existed. Dinner was perfect. Too perfect. Questions came carefully, like they were stepping around a landmine. "How was California? Are you working in tech? I saw something online about you." Nobody said Forbes out loud. Not yet. We sat at the dining table. The same seat they used to put me in, far from my father. Plates clinked. Wine poured. Laughter practiced. Then my father cleared his throat. That sound hadn't changed. "Let's talk business," he said. There it was. My mother reached for my hand. "We're so proud of you," she whispered, tears appearing on command. "You've done incredibly well." 8 years of silence. One article. And suddenly I was family again. My brother leaned back in his chair. "Yeah," he said casually. "Must be nice. You could really help us out." I looked at all of them. The man who buried me. The woman who watched. The boy who laughed. And I understood everything. They hadn't invited me to Christmas. They had invited me to a transaction. My father folded his hands. "Reed Industries is struggling," he said. "Interest rates. Expansion costs. Bad timing." My mother squeezed my fingers. "We just need a little help," she said softly. "Just until things stabilize." I nodded slowly. "How much?" I asked. They all relaxed at once. Numbers came out easily. Comfortably. As if asking me for millions was the most natural thing in the world. I listened. I smiled. And when they finished, I said something that made the room go completely still. "I already own it." Silence. Confusion. My father frowned. "Own what?" I reached into my coat and placed a slim folder on the table. "Your debt," I said calmly. "Your loans. Your defaults. Your future." Their faces began to change. Slowly. Like color draining from a photograph. And that's when they realized. I didn't come home to ask for forgiveness. I came home to collect. My father laughed. Not because it was funny. Because he thought I was bluffing. "That's not possible," he said, shaking his head. "You don't even understand how our financing works." I didn't argue. I slid my phone across the table. One tap. A familiar logo filled the screen. My company's legal entity. My mother's smile cracked. "What is this?" she asked, voice suddenly thin. I looked at her calmly. 9 months ago, I said, when your bank issued the first default notice, I bought the debt." My brother finally looked up from his phone. "You're joking." "I'm not." My father stood up so fast his chair scraped loudly across the floor. You think you can walk in here and threaten us on Christmas Eve? I tilted my head. I'm not threatening you, I said softly. I'm explaining your position. I opened the folder. Inside were copies of loan assignments, signatures, dates. My father's signature. My mother's signature. My aunt's signature. All transferring control, away from them. My mother's hands began to shake. You planned this, she whispered. I met her eyes. You planned my funeral, I replied. You just didn't expect me to come back alive. The room felt smaller. Heavier. My father grabbed the papers and flipped through them wildly. This has to be illegal. It's not, I said. I followed every rule you taught me to ignore. My brother scoffed. So what? You're just going to destroy us. I leaned back in my chair. No, I said. I'm giving you a choice. That made them pause. I placed one final document on the table. A single page. This, I said, tapping it once, is a clean exit. My mother swallowed. What does that mean? It means, I continued, I pay off the remaining debt tonight. Relief flashed across their faces. Too quickly. In exchange, I added, you walk away. Silence. No shares. No inheritance. No control. No future claim to anything connected to my name. My father stared at me like I was a stranger. You're erasing us. I shook my head. No, I said evenly. I'm returning the favor. My mother started crying. Real tears this time. We're your family. I stood. For 8 years, I said, I had no family. I pointed to the empty wall behind them. You took my photos down. I pointed to the table. You spoke my name like it was a disease. I pointed to my chest. You buried me while I was breathing. My brother slammed his hand down. This is insane. No, I replied. This is accountability. I slid the pen across the table. Sign, I said. And you keep your house, your dignity, and what's left of your lives. My father's jaw tightened. And if we don't? I met his stare. Then tomorrow morning, I said calmly, everything you built gets sold to the highest bidder. The clock ticked loudly. My mother sobbed. My brother stared at the floor. My father's hands trembled as he picked up the pen. And for the first time in my life, they were afraid of me. My father signed first. Slowly. Like every letter weighed a pound. When he finished, he dropped the pen as if it burned. My mother followed. Her signature was shaky, uneven, nothing like the elegant cursive she used when she used to sign my school forms. My brother hesitated the longest. He looked at me, eyes red, jaw tight. You really planned all this, he said quietly. I didn't answer. He signed. The moment the last name hit the page, something inside the room collapsed. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just, gone. I closed the folder. It's done, I said. No yelling. No victory speech. Just facts. My father sank into his chair. My mother covered her face with both hands. My brother stared at the wall like he was watching his life rewind and disappear. I picked up my coat. And for the first time that night, I felt light. At the door, my mother spoke. Her voice was small. Was any of it real? She asked. Did you ever forgive us? I turned. I didn't smile. I didn't frown. I forgave you, I said. That's why I didn't take everything. Her breath hitched. But forgiveness, I added, doesn't mean access. The door closed behind me. Cold air hit my face. I stood on the porch for a second, letting the snow fall on my hair, my shoulders, my hands. 8 years ago, I left that house with one suitcase and $500. That night, I left with my name back. 6 months later, the company was sold. The house followed. My parents downsized. My brother moved away. We don't speak. And that's okay. Because family isn't who shares your blood. It's who refuses to erase you when you choose your own life. Sometimes the best revenge isn't screaming. It's silence, signed in ink.